Football fans, Gooners of the world, this is Shutter from the Uncensored Arsenal YouTube channel with Blackburn George from the Positively Arsenal blog. This is the audio version of our YouTube show of Wednesday, August 24th on the topic, Is Arteta really in trouble? Stay tuned for more. Glorious football fans, this is Shot George. Another edition of the Uncensored Arsenal. And today we're going to be discussing if Arteta is really in trouble. And honestly, I thought that maybe it was a subject that was premature, George, but actually it's all over the internet, all over Arsenal YouTube. You go there, Arteta is being questioned, but most of all, George, we saw on Sunday images of Arteta's car being mobbed outside the stadium, and then we also saw that ITK extraordinaire Fabrizio Romano floating something up that Arteta, the board is fully behind Arteta, and that got my attention. Did it get yours?
Not really, no. They're just bullshitters. But I'll have to start with that Arteta's car incident.
Correct.
Now, I don't like him, we know that.
Yes.
But that's disgusting. Absolutely diabolical. That you harass someone leaving the job, and whether we like him or not, he's doing his best. It might not be good enough. It might be wrong. He might be making mistake after mistake, but he's doing his best. He does not deserve treatment like that. And how he's treated others, like we can say, oh, he wasn't very good to Mesut Ozil, or this player or that player, he's been bad to Guendouzi. He hasn't stood outside the car and shouted at them and called them twats and told them to fuck off. It's just not good enough. Anyone doing that should be banned from attending games or attending any Arsenal function permanently. Permanently.
Well, you know, George, we are reaping the whirlwind. I'm trying to remember the Malcolm X quotation that on CBS, George, 50 years ago, about the what coming home, the rooster coming home to roost, or whatever that saying was. I mean, these are the same fans after a loss to Southampton were abusing Wenger down the tube station, literally. And you remember also when he slid, they were in glee, you know. These, and of course, these are the same fans, obviously, who flew banners and A4 and bed sheets.
Yeah,
we've sown the wind and reaping the whirlwind. I finally got that correct. It seems to me.
The problem is that people will tell you, if you go on Twitter or blogs or whatever, they'll say, oh, they're not real fans. Fucking right, they're real fans. That's the problem. They are real fans. There's no point saying they're not Arsenal, they're not proper. These are Arsenal fans behaving like twats. You can't deny it, they are.
And George, it's to me.
And we condoned it. They condoned it.
Yes.
It was all right doing it with Wenger. It was all right doing it with Emery.
Oh, yes.
And I'll tell you what now, what I have noticed is accounts on Twitter that make everything about likes and retweets that have slavishly backed Arteta for the last 12 months, tweeting positive things about him, right? Now that they have a whiff that the fan base is turning against him, you'll see the exact opposite. They'll be tweeting negative things about him. So if they were previously tweeting back Arteta, it's a long-term project. Next week they'll be going, let's get this twat out of our club, our great club. We deserve better. Anything to get likes and retweets and popularity. It's nothing to do with their opinions, and it makes me fucking sick. I have no time for them. No time at all. Even the old Wenger out boys, at least some of them stuck to the guns. Do you know what I'm saying? At least they had an actual principle. They were against Arsene Wenger. But a lot of people that just jump on the bandwagon, they make me sick. And you'll see it more and more and more. And you'll see it with pundits and Sky. One Sky that get the idea that, or TalkSport, get the idea that the fan base is turning against them. You watch all the fucking phone shows be about Arteta and how he's failing and how what we need to do. And they know all the answers. They don't know the answers. They don't even know the fucking questions.
Well, George, I have news for you. I have news for you, George. The biggest YouTube channel for Arsenal is replete. I checked them out as a preparatory for this program. Replete with Arteta out. Little teenagers or barely 21-year-olds spouting drivel. And even big men, George. They are literally saying Arteta out. And
yeah, of course, because it's
and you know what, George? When the dude from Luton asked them, well, you know, he had 5 players out, and what can he do? They have, as you say, absolutely no solution. Just need a new manager. This can't work. And you and I have spoken about this. You and I have said that they have embarked on a course which you, the fan, support. You dismantled an entire team. Now you have a bunch of 21-year-olds, 23-year-olds together with Auba and Lacazette, who we are probably moving along. What do you expect? This is a rebuilding team. This is a mid-table team. What do you expect? That is the problem, don't you think?
Of course it is. It's a complete lack of understanding. You can't go down this road, back someone going down this road, then all of a sudden, when you realise you were as wrong as he's been, or the club has been, all of a sudden, hold your hands up and change direction and want to go back to the beginning of the road. Well, you can't go back.
Right.
That road ripped up behind you. We can only go forward. And nobody has a solution. It's like, if you ask me, what do I want to happen? You know, it's a simple question, isn't it? What would I like to see happen? First thing I'd like to see happen is Arteta get it right, start playing attractive football, integrating the young talent that we have, and winning enough games to get us at least where we finished last season and the season before, in the top 8, with the prospect of 2 years down the line getting back into the top 6 and miracle of miracles, maybe even the top 4. That's
Correct.
what I want. That's the first thing I want. The first thing I want isn't to see him crucified. Right? Do I think it would be better if he went and a better manager came in? And I'm not even sure about that, because we've backed him with these players and clearly a medium-term project. Now, I have my doubts about him, but I might have my doubts about someone else as well. At least you're all in. You've got to just see what the flop brings. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
You go,
George,
it's
I
very
think
difficult, but nobody has an answer. And the answer is definitely not to start abusing the players and the manager.
Oh, well,
Personal criticism is fine. You can't get away from being critical. You can't look at the results and say, oh, it's okay. 2 games in, no points, and we played crap. All right, that's a worry. But you can't abuse, you can't stop the manager in the street. You can't go on social media and tell players to fuck off and get out of our club.
Oh, yeah.
It's, I'm reading today, I couldn't believe it. A tweet from somebody who's consistently backs Arteta, and it's been positive. All of a sudden, they're going, we need someone who, we need an owner that at least doesn't call it soccer. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, just fuck off.
George, that's their
invested the
favorite.
money. They've invested the money. It's clearly a project. They're going down a road that everybody wanted a few months ago. Everybody was saying, buy young talent, like Liverpool did. Invest in young talent. It'll come to. That's what 90% of people were saying. You got the 10% that were wanting us to buy Mbappe and fucking Cristiano Ronaldo and all like that. They're just idiots. You can absolutely discount them because of fuckwits of the highest order. But the people who are asking for young talent, for investment in young talent, they've done it. That's exactly what we've got. Ben White, Tavares, Lokongo, and there's another one. Even Ramsdale. That's 4 young players that could mature into top class players. That's what we wanted. That's what everybody was asking for. Cronkies have done it, and now they can fuck off because what? Because they've not bought Mbappe, Haaland. It's just a fucking joke.
Well, George, personally, I never agreed with that. That we had to can all our, good veterans, because George, and this takes us back to Arteta. The whole point of football is winning games, right? And the problem here at Arsenal, we're not used to losing games. And my first blog slash in my blog, I usually post our live stream or our podcast. But within that blog, I indicated that Arteta is worse than Emery, and that Brentford was a further indication. And perhaps I was motivated by the disappointment of losing to Brentford. But George, you can't get away from it.
Yeah, no.
Arteta, let me finish here, George. Arteta's gone 60 games to 20 losses. The number of goals he scored is less than 1.5. I didn't have a chance before to do the averages. Our fans are not used to it. Do you see what I'm saying, George? They're not used to rebuilding. They criticize Wenger, but they're not used to coming anything less than 4th. Your thoughts on this?
Well, of course, that's true. It's obvious. But look at the other side of the coin.
Yes.
Unai Emery had Arsenal's team at the beginning to work with.
Right.
Mikel Arteta had Unai Emery's team to work with.
Right. So
obviously, it's easier for Emery to get better results than Arteta.
Yes.
Because
you're right, George, because whenever Emery was in trouble, he picked up Wenger team to take him out of trouble. Keep going.
Yes, exactly. Well, Arteta couldn't do that. He didn't have the option. So it's easy to say, statistically, Arteta's worse than Unai Emery. No denying it. It's true.
Shit, Sherlock.
But look at why. Why is it worse? It's worse because he had a worse team to start with.
Well, George, but I want to take this back to the subject. The topic. Is Arteta really in trouble? And the reason why I'm going to say this to you, is that the reason why I'm posing this again is because, like I said, football is all about winning games as far as our fans are concerned. I don't think our fans can stomach losing big to City this weekend. If he loses 2-0, they'll be okay. But I don't think they can stomach losing 4-0 or 5-0. I'm just putting this out to you. I don't think they can. I don't think we can afford to lose. Arteta can lose to Norwich, nor can he afford to lose to Burnley. But the problem is that Norwich and Burnley, as we said over the weekend, think they can get points, can get 3 points, not George, not 1, 3 points of Arsenal. Isn't this what is it the problem for Arteta?
Absolutely, it's a problem. But we have to remember that it doesn't really matter what the fans can stomach. It's what can Kroenke stomach.
I'm coming there.
Much as people like to say, oh, the fans are the club. No, they're not. Stan Kroenke's the club at the moment. And if he wants to stick with Arteta, he will. And us making it more difficult for the manager and the team isn't a help. It isn't a help, you know. And I'm probably as guilty as anyone up to this point. But that's been on a critical level, looking at the way we're playing and what I felt was a mistake, leaving Mesut Ozil out of the team and then getting rid of him. But if the Kroenkes don't think it was a mistake, if they know something I don't, and they've decided something I don't, we've just got to get on with it.
Okay, George.
And the best way to do that is to not make it more difficult for the team. At least give him a chance to fail.
That's correct, George.
If someone's going to fall over and break the nose, fair enough. But don't fucking trip them up and then laugh at them for breaking the nose.
You know, George, the $100 and something thousand dollars. I'm sorry, dollars. The 100,000 people who are tuning into the Get Rid of Arteta Now YouTube channel is what concerns me. I mean, you and I are, and the people who watch our video. And by the way, people, me and George, and I keep telling you, me and George and the rest of the Uncensored team are late to the party. That group is way ahead of us and spreading fear and spreading panic amongst the fans. But George, the concern that I have, even as I say that, is that Wenger said, and nobody likes to hear what he says, but he's always prophetic. Remember, he said around January that or so that if there were crowds in the stands, there will be 5 or so managers out of a job. And we were 14th, he had just beaten Chelsea. That, George, can the owners withstand that? That is my concern.
Well, we'll have to see, won't we? All I'm saying is we shouldn't be making it more difficult for the players to play and at least give him a chance to fail. I think he will fail. I don't think he's up to it. But, you know, I don't want to see any manager, even him, abused and his job made more difficult. And you'll see it, you know, it'll manifest itself in every interview he does. You know, he'll be sat in front of the people and they'll be saying, oh, do you think the board up back you? Or the fans are against you? Did you hear the booing? And it just on and on. And the problem is, I think you reach a tipping point where there's no way back.
Correct, George. Correct. You reach a tipping point.
And this tipping point tends to come more and more quickly these days.
Yes.
You know, tipping point used to take 12 months, then 6 months.
Yes.
Now it's 2 weeks.
Yes. You go, George. I think
remember that over the summer, people were saying, "Oh, we're the second best team in the league." I mean, it was a joke.
Yes.
As if we were the second best team, but results were the second best in the league.
Right.
So that optimism went over 2 games. one against a team that we should never be expecting to beat anyway, and one against a team that was riding high, first game away from home with a very depleted squad.
Yes.
You know, but that might be all it takes. Those two games, the fan base is against him, the press are against him. They see a way of getting on Talk Sport and Sky Sports by attacking. You'll see them all rolled out, the same fucking ones that are prepared to come on and slag the club off. They'll all of a sudden get the 5 minutes in the limelight. And the likes of Bob Wilson, Robert Perez will never be approached to say fuck all because they might say something positive.
George, I'm going to tell you something. You're absolutely right. You should see the ITKs, the Football London, the I gotta call their names, the James Bangs, that whole lot. They are now tweeting anything that will set up Arteta. I know you just quoted one, and I went. What they're doing right now is setting up Arteta. Anything he says about, oh, this will take time, that's, we have a young squad. It's just to set him up to then, after the next game, go right to a driver's stake in his heart. It is sickening. And
that's right. But it's not even that, Shotter.
Yes.
They don't care.
Exactly.
It's about them. It's about them attracting attention and them getting more followers and them following in the direction that they see the herd going so that they can be part of that herd. It's pathetic. And but we're there. That's where we are. That's where football is. That's where Arsenal is. And let's be honest here. We point the finger at other clubs saying, oh, look at those supporters. We are the worst of the lot. We are the club that got rid of the best manager it's ever had. Not the other clubs. They didn't set. Liverpool haven't come along and set Klopp. City out after getting Pep out because he lost his first game. We set the precedent. Arsenal Football Club sacked the greatest manager in its 130-year history. And we're pointing our fingers at other people saying, oh, how much superior our fans are to them. Give me a break. We're fucking shit.
Well, George, I came to the conclusion where, how we love to criticize Tottenham fans for being fickle and they got rid of managers. I came to the conclusion some time ago that we're no different from them. They're just a couple blocks up the road, up Seven Sisters Road. We are just like them. By the way, George, Phil Kennedy says George seems to be walking back from the vitriol of the past. Tell him that you... Phil, George is a fount of wisdom. Stop it.
Let me say this, though. I'm still against Arteta. I think he's made horrible mistakes, and I don't think he's the man for the job. I just don't think we should make the job more difficult for him than we have, because you've got to give him... You cannot spend £120 million on a project and then sack the project leader.
Mm-hmm. By the way, George, speaking about us being horrible as fans, it was amazing to me, and you just gave me the opportunity to bring that in. It was amazing to me that the old geezer turned up at Liverpool yesterday, and you should see Klopp's pearly whites, the pleasure on his face. Granted, Wenger was doing some official duties, but the delight in the man's face in those pictures was plain to see. It was not a phony smile. Then the deference that Van Dijk, and I think it was, who's the other dude that he gave a trophy from? Was that the boy Thiago? The picture, it looked to me like Thiago Alcantara, and even the fellow that used to play for us,
Chamberlain.
Yes, coming over to meet him and greet him, and them so pleased to have him watch over the training session. And I was like, I had to tweet. But he's not, and you're the man who really love to point this out. He hasn't put his nose at the Emirates, which he built from scratch, neither Colony, which he also built from the ground up. And it tells you, I contrasted that, with our fan base. And, and you're right. We are, too many of us, not all of us, but too many of us are, I don't know, we're dim-witted or something. Perhaps you want to comment on that. I know you said you did a tweet about somebody being. Somebody said Sagna is the worst right back we ever had. And Jesus Christ, I nearly died myself. But George, comment on that.
Yeah, well, again, if I went through the comments on one of the posts that Liverpool had made.
Yes.
And the Liverpool fans are saying, what a legend coming to the club. A few of them were trying to be funny, saying, like Arsene Wenger, a fan with Jurgen, with Klopp. But generally, the Liverpool fans were very respectful. And the Arsenal fans, and this makes me laugh, the ones that are still blaming Wenger, they used to get. I used to get on my tits. It used to really annoy me. I was like, how stupid can you be? But now folk are just laughing at them.
Yes.
When they double down on the vitriol against Arsene Wenger and blaming him, it's just giggles now. I mean, they're so stupid, it's now giggles parody. It really doesn't bother me now. You see people, it was Wenger's fault. He's responsible for this. He started it and all that. And they just get laughed at. And I just laugh at them now because but they've always been a joke. They've always been a joke. It's just that more of us understand now how much of a joke these clowns are. But there was enough people went along with it to get him out.
Right. And we have the same 110 or 120,000 sometimes dimwits following these very same people. And it's, and that is amazing to me. That tells you how smart we are. Guys, that is why I set up this channel with George. Because these guys quickly, do you know what they do, George? And fans, what they do is they quickly forget that these were the people who led us down this garden path. And please remember, I mean, we're small. We're trying to make an impression here. But these guys have told you, Wenger, anybody but Wenger could make the side challenge. Now they're saying, if you can make top 6, that will be an improvement. Our good friend H. Layman's was making that point. They suddenly changed the narrative. So maybe you want to say something before we wrap up. Go ahead.
Basically, what you're saying is we set this channel up so as we can be smarter than everybody else.
No, well, George, not at all. If you leave a vacuum open out there, George, all the idiots just come all the way, fill it up. That's the point I'm making.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, of course you do.
I just want it to be put out there that I'm smarter than everybody else.
No.
No. You might not think you are, but I think I am genuinely.
Yeah, of course you are. Shatta is the what was it? They used to have this comedy back in the day. Well, every comedy duo, there's a doppelganger, an idiot, and I'm the idiot in the duo. Anyway, George.
My early wise.
George, guys,
so let's answer the question.
Yes.
How much trouble is Arteta in?
Yes, let's come down on this finally.
George,
you say something. I'm going to tell my view. I'm going to give you this time I'm going to not hedge. What is your view? Out of a score of 1 to 10, 10 in cosmetically dramatic, catastrophic trouble, 1 being 0 trouble. Where are you on that scale?
For me, personally, is 5. And I think for the fan base and the media, is 7 or 8 at the moment. I think he's in deep trouble.
I agree with you 100%. And the reason, and I'm going to say this, the reason why I think he's in big trouble, I think the owners these are the same owners who never supported Wenger in the last year. Stripped away his power, undermined him, never gave him much money in the rebuild. I don't think they have any loyalty to any manager per se. They have spent 120 million pounds so far. They want a return on their investment. They cannot take a negative PR. You know, they have hitched their star on all these PR outfits that represent them in the media. And once the Daily Mail, the Sun, the whole lot turn on Arteta, he's dead. He's dead in the water. And I think he's like an 8 in trouble. It's just a matter of time. And finally, George, if we go to City, God forbid, I don't want to see that happen. But if he takes a 6-0 up there, which I'm not sure that will happen. I think Arteta is smarter than that. But most of all, George, if he loses to Norwich and Burnley, he's a goner.
You have to think that there is a point where it's just unsustainable anymore.
Yes.
And I'm not really happy about how quickly that point's come from where we were, from the same absolute idiots backing him 100% sheepishly, now turning on him after 2 games. You know,
one day Ramos territory, George.
You know, pick a fucking side, will you? You know, pick a fucking side.
We're going to remain observers of this, guys. Click, like, and subscribe to our channel. And try to be as sensible and as rational as possible. It's very hard. We are fans, and you know that emotion sometimes takes full advantage of our brain. But this is what George and I are trying to do. Also on Friday morning, George, I know you can't. You won't be there personally, but the rest. I can assure the listeners and viewers, the members of the other members of the Uncensored team will make up for your wisdom in our weekly Arsenal preview of the City game. Thanks all for listening. And if you couldn't wake up early in my time zone to watch this live, you can always check in on YouTube. Thank you, George. It's been good.
All right. See you all. Have a good day.
Bye. This concludes another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. Show your appreciation of our podcast by subscribing and clicking the like button wherever you listen. This really helps in growing our support among honest and biased fans who recognize that Wenger's legacy is fundamental. Free-flowing attacking football by a club with integrity and class. Thanks for listening.